We cannot control it. We cannot stop it. We cannot even get out of it. We have to go through it, but we don't have to go through it alone. What is the purpose and plan behind storms in life? Is there a spiritual purpose in our storms? So whether you are also going through a storm right now or whether you are in a different kind of life storm, I hope that these words will help you stay close to God and help you seek his purposes throughout it all. These were my notes. God does have a purpose for the storm, for every storm. In life, there's also a purpose after the storm. Storms and trials and troubles, they refine us. They sharpen our faith. Having to go through something adverse, it causes us to decide where we're going to place our trust. And our trust, we know that when things get really bad, there's no one you can trust more than Christ. The storms that we go through are training grounds for our spiritual development. Some people think that they have to go through bad things in life, like storms, because they've somehow been disobedient. They somehow have a sin they forgot to ask forgiveness for. But oftentimes we have to go through a storm because God has a bigger plan. And then, of course, we may have to go through a storm. God may allow us to go through a storm. He will take us through a storm. But he never leaves us in the middle of a storm. He's always working, even in the middle of the storm. He is always there. He will not leave us there. If he led us to it, he will take us through it and out of it. Here are some promises that you might want to remember from God when you're in the middle of a storm. With God, we can weather it. We can make it through. We can do all things through him who strengthens. And I've taught on this before, but that verse, the context of that verse is that I can endure good times and I can endure hard times because it's God. It is Jesus Christ who gives me strength. We are not promised an easy life. We are not promised a life without trials and storms, but we are promised that he will be with us. His presence is a promise. His nearness is a promise to all who are seeking him. Sometimes we just have to watch it. We have to know there's nothing that we can do. But it's important to know that we are not alone. And we have to know and trust that somehow God will use this, whatever we are going through, whether it's a storm, a divorce, a breakup, a job loss, a teenage child who's gone off the rails, or a young adult child making choices, causing their own destruction. Sometimes we have to wait for it to pass. We have to wait for everything to fall down. And then God helps us to rebuild. He will use it to grow our faith. In my book, I talk about one of the strongest ways to grow your faith is to keep prayer journals. This is the book Closer to God. There is nothing that has built my faith more than the prayer journal. I don't update it every day. I try to look at it and update it once a week. The things that are on my heart that I've been praying for. But over and over again, I will find that 3 months ago I prayed for something. It wasn't that big of a thing. I prayed about something and I wrote it down. I completely forgot that I prayed about it. And then 2 to 3 months later, I'm going back and reviewing my old notes. And sure enough, God was faithful. And he answered a prayer that I had forgotten I had prayed. He does not forget. He does not forget unless he chooses to forget. We might not see it, but God may be using this very well, using a destructive, stormy experience to build a new foundation for something that we don't even know is coming. We don't even know the possibilities. We can be afraid or we can be faithful. The two are not exactly opposites, but one of my favorite quotes is, feed your faith and your fear will starve. Feed your fear and your faith will starve. I think that was attributed to Max Lucado. I don't know if he's the first one that came up with that quote, but I love it. We cannot control the outcome, but we can lean on God, who does know the outcome. And not only does he know the outcome, but he knows what's 5 years down the road, what's 6 months down the road, what's long-term down the road. So by staying close to him, he helps us to navigate through the destruction or to overcome it. Again, storms, all kinds, can be financial, it can be medical or health related, family or job troubles, but whatever the storm is, whatever the trial is, whatever the hard time is, whatever it is, whatever adversity, God is the God of all times, especially in the times of storms. Those were my notes taken from a sermon given in August of 2017 as Harvey was coming through from Champion Forest Church. It was Pastor David Fleming at the time. As I finish writing this, the rain has picked up again and it continues to pelt relentlessly. We will go to bed tonight not sure what tomorrow nor the days ahead will bring. We cannot control it. We cannot stop it. We cannot even get out of it. We have to go through it, but we don't have to go through it alone.